Hey everyone, welcome to Holistic Lifestyle Tips, Getting Real About the Woo Woo. I'm Becky Russell, owner of wellness company Hope Essential, and a holistic lifestyle educator and an essential oil educator. That means I love to teach. And I also feel compelled to share what I've learned on my holistic journey. And uh, I feel like a lot of people have a misunderstanding of what holistic means and they get caught up in the woo woo instead of really all it is treating the entire body, mind, body, and soul, and treating from the inside out, not just symptoms, getting to the root of the issue. And the reason I chose this path is I was not blessed with good genes, and uh, by all rights, in my early 40s, I probably should have been diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic. And I knew that was sort of what my genetic makeup had in store for me. And I did not want to go the route of disease treatment. So I took the path of the holistic way of looking at health. And that's more preventative and being proactive. So this series is a result of a lot of things I've learned on that journey, and I just want to share with you and maybe open your mind to looking at your health a different way and knowing that you have all these other choices that you might not have known about. Or it's something you know about but you never looked at quite this way. And tonight we are going to talk about something that has been a challenge for me for a long, long time. And every week I alternate between spiritual, emotional, and physical wellness. Sometimes the topic covers one, two, sometimes all three. And tonight, the subject of perfectionism covers emotional wellness, and I think spiritual wellness as well, because if we are caught up in the perfectionist trap, we're not spiritually healthy either, because it's quite honestly very depressing. So let's dig in. And this is something that is pretty personal for me because, like I say, it's an ongoing challenge. And so let's start with the definition. Um, Perfectionism refers to an all or nothing mentality. Something is either perfect or a failure. There is one right way and the rest are wrong. And I wonder how many of you grew up with a parent that said it's my way or the highway, or just had a very black and white way of thinking. And we have friends that are like that, parents, maybe grandparents. We all know someone like that. And it doesn't always have to do with perfectionism, but a lot of times it does. I want to go over several reasons why perfectionism is a bad thing. And don't get confused with goals are great, striving to be the best you is great, but whenever a strength is taken to an extreme, it's a weakness. And that to me is what perfectionism is. Number one, you are never done. If your goal is to have a clean house all the time, then you are going to be very disappointed because it just never ends. By the time you dust one part of the house and you get all your other chores done, it's dusty again. You will never be satisfied. It never ends. Give yourself a break, lower the standards a little bit. A little dust isn't going to hurt, but whatever your perfectionism tends to focus on, um, think a little bit about that. You're never done, and I can sort of attest to that with the writing. You can write the life out of something because you keep thinking there's a better word or a better phrase or a better ending, and you just keep writing and rewriting and to the point where it's flat and there's nothing there anymore. So you can it could be a very negative thing at the end. You're stressed. uh, that it's a very stressful thing when you are striving for perfection because it's almost unattainable. Very few things you can literally look at and say that's perfect, uh, except for your child maybe, or your fur baby. Um, but an example for me is, and I'm telling on myself, but a friend and I were getting ready to go to this big gala uh, evening affair, and getting all dressed up is very stressful for me because I'm not that girl. I'm denim and gym clothes. That's just me. And so I was already a little stressed, and I was trying to get my hair to do something. And of course, it was longer than it is now. And I messed with my hair for a good 20 minutes. And my girlfriend is just sort of watching me. And at the end, she said, Becky, your hair looked great 20 minutes ago, and now you're done, and it looks the same as when you started. I don't understand. Please explain. And I just said very sincerely, it's not that I think it looks any better. I just give up. It's the best I can do. And when I look back on that now, it makes me very sad because instead of focusing on the fun of dressing up when, how often do you get to wear a ball gown sort of kind of thing? Instead of just having fun with it, I was caught up in perfectionism. And that's just one little example. You don't take risks. Uh, if you want everything to be perfect, you're afraid of failure. And sometimes you have to try something, get outside of your comfort zone to really experience that success. And so, not taking risks can really hurt you. You don't grow in your comfort zone. Your creativity is suffocated. I sort of touched on that with the writing. Uh, you you can write the life out of something. If you're painting, you can just keep going over something until you don't even recognize what it was because you just keep messing with it. Music, you can just keep messing with it and trying to perfect it to the point where you really don't like it or you're burned out. Um, and just something I witnessed with writing was there were some beautiful writers who were so hung up on perfectionism that they kept rewriting that first chapter over and over, and they would never move on. And so everyone was, the world was deprived of their talent. So that's sad. You strive to keep everyone happy. A lot of times, perfectionism leads to you're a people pleaser, and you care too much about what other people think about you, and you don't want anyone upset. That can really hurt you personally and professionally because sometimes you have to have those fierce conversations. You're highly critical of others. Let's face it, if you're critical about yourself, you're probably going to be that way with others. You have that bar so high, and no one can live up to that. And that's going to really hurt both personally and professionally as well. You can't delegate. So if you have that bar so high, you really don't think anyone else can do it as well as you. And if you have a small business um, or a small family or whatever it is you're dealing with, you might be able to get away with that for a little while, but eventually it's not going to work. And also, you're depriving your child or spouse or staff or partner in business the opportunity to use their strengths or to learn. If you don't ever let your kid wash their own clothes while they're at home because they aren't going to do it right or the way you do it, how are they going to know how to do it when they're out on their own? So we have to let go of some of that and and be okay with it. It'll be okay. And next one is you personalize everything. That sort of touches on before that you care too much about what other people think. Um, you attach what they think and feel about you to how you think and feel about you, and that's never good. And you think that if you failed, you're a failure, and we all know that's not true. We Failure is just an opportunity to learn and grow. And you never rest if you're a perfectionist because the job is never done. So a lot of these all just sort of tie into each other. Um, you have to be able to say good enough and move on. And the world needs your gifts. So try and figure out ways to curtail that perfectionism so you can shine your light and everyone can see. So I wanted to share with you some of the tips that I've developed through the years to help with my perfectionism tendencies. And the hair, we'll go back to the hair. Uh, when I was in my 40s, I developed some health concerns and I didn't know what the cause was. And I worried it might be from dyeing my hair. So I decided to let this happen. And I thought if I'm going to go gray, I'm going to have as little of it as possible. So went really short. I would never been that brave otherwise. And the haircut was so different, outside my comfort zone, short and spiky, and there were no rules. There was no certain way it was supposed to look. And it was so liberating for me to not have to think about it, to just, and have something so different too. So it was refreshing. It sort of gave me some energy, and it was liberating because I did not have to think, is this the right, does it look right? There was no right or wrong way. You just put the paste on, scrunch it, and go. And so I'm looking forward to that day that I can do that again. Um, so that was very liberating. So I encourage you, if your hair is giving you fits, ladies, um, try something different and see if it isn't liberating. The other thing that used to give me stress with my perfectionism and the need to have things be just so is I wanted to have an open house at a house we had moved into and in Plano, Texas. And but I was so paralyzed with how, when should I do it? How would I decorate? I'm not that good at that. Would anyone come? And all that stuff was going through my head. And so I finally came up with the idea that I'm going to do it when it's the least stressful for me so that I can have fun as well. And so Christmas is my favorite holiday and it's already decorated. So I thought that'll be perfect. We're going to do it at Christmas and everyone's already in the, partying spirit. But when? Because there's all these Christmas parties and, people are traveling and, what do I do? How do I pick? And I thought, okay, stop. When would be the least stressful? Not before Christmas, because I'm busy getting my stuff, done, shopping and wrapping and all that. So I decided the Sunday before, the Sunday between Christmas and New Year's. So the all the stuff that needs to be done before Christmas, that's done, the parties and so forth. And then people could be still traveling, but maybe not. Not everyone leaves town. And so I picked the Sunday and I picked mid afternoon. So I didn't have to get up early and be stressed about that. And so, and if no one came, worst case scenario, no big deal. It's just a Sunday afternoon with a lot of food. And of course, people came. There was never a time when no one came. So that was a very, very good lesson for me to learn. And I even do that to this day. For instance, choosing a time and day for this series of Facebook Lives. I was overthinking it for a while and trying to figure out what night's the best to reach the most people, what's the most convenient. And I was going around and around in my head, and finally it was like, stop. What's the most convenient for me? So then, in case no one shows up, it's not a big deal. And of course, with Facebook Live, you can do replays. So it just needs to be convenient for me to lower the stress. And what helps also is with my business training, they stress that perfectionism should never be a goal because it's not relatable. And when you think about it, if you're around someone who seems perfect, it's a little annoying, or um, I don't know, it's off-putting to me, and it's just not. It just isn't something you should aspire to. Let's put it that way. So being authentic, being genuine, being sincere is so much more important than being perfect. So this is what you get. And so that's all helped me help also with these perfectionism tendencies. And the last one I'm going to give you example is scrapbooking. I am not creative in any way other than writing. And scrapbooking, of course, has that writing component, but creating those pages that are supposed to be so pretty and perfect, I knew that was going to be a challenge for me. I can't even cut a straight line, let alone draw one. And so I was thrilled to see they had the scissors with the decorative edges. So that meant I didn't have to worry about straight lines. So everything I cut out, I used one of those funky scissors. And then the lettering that the stickers that were letters that you could put on the pages, uh, there were times where you would think you would put them straight across. Well, that would stress me out because they were never perfect. So I purposely uh, put all the letters off centered so that there was never a doubt that it was not supposed to be in a straight line. So instead of stressing over trying to make it look perfect or a perfect line or anything like that, I just made it so obvious that that wasn't even an intention. And that took some of that stress off. Now, are they the real pretty Martha Stewart pages? Oh, no, no. But it can be comic relief for my kids later. I tried, and it was more important for me to have those memories, uh, kept than to have perfect pages. So my journey's been pretty varied, and it's something I still work on. I'm a work in progress, but I do understand that perfectionism hurts. And I'm also a poster child for people can change, because I have really, even my son who moved here um, several years ago, he could not believe how much I had changed and was more relaxed than what he remembers. So we can change if we want to, and we're willing to do the hard work. So I would love to know if perfectionism is a challenge for you, and if you had any ahas during this, and if any of my tips were helpful. Please, I hope I'm not the only one. And also, if you want to catch up on any of the former videos, you can find them all on my website, hopeessential.com. I also have a YouTube channel, and you can please follow me on my Hope Essential business page, Hope Essential LLC, and that's where you'll find events and education about essential oils and holistic living. And I just hope you enjoyed tonight and got something out of it. And until next time, choose you, choose natural, choose now.